you should never speak on two other men's business. But all I can tell you is that Sergio was in there for nothing. I'm sure they have opportunity to talk and figure out whatever way they want to figure it out. But you heard in his first gift and a curse, you heard him struggle, and you heard with bittersweet that it's okay, but not without my man.
What's up? Thank you for joining the XXL's debut of our new podcast, Inside Track. I'm Vanessa Satten, the editor-in-chief of XXL. We have Courtney CL over here, my co-host, who's also a very good friend and a illustrious industry insider as well. Wow. And our first guest for our show is Kevin Liles, a longtime friend, a name that everybody knows. He is the current chairman and CEO of 300 Elektra. And we are very happy to have you here to talk to us.
It's all good. I'm glad y'all making me the first episode. That made me feel a little bit special, you know what I mean? So I'm glad to be here with friends and people that I love, and thank you again.
Well, thank you for coming. There was no one else. And when we started talking about this a little bit, it had to be you. 100%. And one of the main things we wanted to first talk to you about, although we could talk to you all day, is something that seems to be near and dear to your heart lately based on your roster, the artists you work with, and your passion for the artists in general, and lyrics and how they're used against artists in hip-hop. And I wanted to, or not used against, and your fight against that. So can you tell us a little bit about, most recently, what you've been working on in that space and why it's important? And then we got some questions for you about that.
All good. Listen, first off, our culture is under attack. This is not the first time. It's not going to be the last time. And I'll take you through history around when we become popular or something we do become popular, how it's constantly attacked. In 1948, there was a riot that happened, a slave uprising. And so in 1849, what it was, they banned drums because they felt the drum was the beat that uprised.
I never heard that.
No, the uprising. And so then you go through Billie Holiday with Strange Fruit, and then you go through B.B. King, or you go through, what was the other kid's name? Chuck Berry, and these guys that if they supported the NAACP, they have files like this about them just because
FBI files?
Yeah, FBI files, you know, about them. And then you go NWA, then you go Ice-T, you go Public Enemy, you go down the list. And so although this is a new emergence, social media has got this to be like a 600% increase in how lyrics are used against us in the court of law.
Specifically hip-hop artists against them?
Specifically black and brown people.
Okay.
So we can talk about, right now we know there's 700 cases, not counting pleas or anything or underage, where lyrics have been used. And we went back to New York Times did this in 1958. There's been 4 cases against other kinds of forms of music. And in those 4 cases, all of them been dismissed or overturned. So numbers don't lie. You know, 4 to 700 plus, it's a way to try to control who we are and what we are. And the PACE Act, which I was down in Annapolis doing, Maryland, shout out to Delegate Ampray and Senator Charles, who put the bill forward. It's a bipartisan bill. We're not saying that if you said, I shot a girl when she was waking up at 2:54, and then a girl gets shot in the morning at 2:54, that should be able to be used.
Interesting. Okay, so you're acknowledging that there are some elements where...
Oh, when you're dumb and, you talk about
because I want to ask you about that.
Talk about the crime. That's cool. But
that's your stupidity.
That's your stupidity. And at the end of the day, a prosecutor should be able to use things to bring bad people to justice, you know.
What are you specifically advocating against? So
so I'll give you a prime example. Right. Young Thug, and I can't talk too much about the case, but what you know I can talk about. Yeah. He said, I want to go to war like Russia. Okay. Drop bombs like Russia, whatever the term was. And they saying because he said that, he's a terrorist and you should be afraid to not give him bond. No. And so, and I can go down the list of the other 17 different songs that they're using. Right. Because he said, I'm King Slime, he's the leader of a gang. And so, to me, I'm just against prosecutors using overzealous tactics to actually put people behind bars. I'll give you another example.
Right.
So there was a country song, it was a test. It was a country song. They took 3 different peer groups and said, hey, this is a country song, this is a pop song, and this is a rap song.
Right.
Same lyrics.
Yeah.
And everybody was fearful because they call it rap. So it's called judicial prejudice when you introduce hip-hop and rap music, or you show videos of them emulating what's going on in the neighborhoods. So they use that to get into the jury's mind. And so the jury is not thinking just about the case. They're thinking about the images and think about those things. And so I just think it's, we've seen it happen again, and Mac Phipps was over Zoom with me. You know, he spent 21 years of his life in jail based off of lyrics.
And now he fights that today. Him and his wife both focused on that today, right?
100%.
It's his main topic, yeah.
Yeah, he was actually, he said this to me, and you could hear it in the hearing. He said, you know, they locked me up 10 days after it happened. 2 weeks later, the guy who actually committed the crime came to the station with his pastor. Right. And committed to the crime. But the police said, no, we already got a witness that said you did it. Spent 21 years of his life in jail to be exonerated. And I just tell you, think about, he had money and could help and get. Think about the kids that don't
have it at all, right?
Cop the pleas and do the
made a YouTube video, put some lyrics, said some stuff. And
there's a case in Baltimore, a kid named Young Moose. So there was a detective that kept harassing the crew, and so they locked him up over his music and blah, blah, and they found out that this particular cop was corrupt. And so he sued, Young Moose sued him and got $300,000. So this just happened. You know, there was a case in Georgia 2 days ago. Guy got convicted of murder, and it's because of the lyrics. They said no. Federal said no. That you can't use the lyrics. And so it's starting to work. Jam Master Jay situation. Jam Master
Yes.
Lyrics. They tried to bring it in, and they said so. I think some judges and prosecutors are coming to a point where, you know what, maybe it's overreaching, but it just teach you our system is still it's a racist act, and if it was happening to all genres of music, and if you were saying we can't make John Wick 5 because too many people dying, or we should pull Shakespeare and not do opera, if you said that, I'm cool, because the light is red for everybody, the light is yellow for everybody, the light is green. But this is an attack on us, and I think it's racially motivated and it's overzealous prosecutors.
Do you think it has anything to do with the popularity of the genre of how hip hop and how it expands? And if it wasn't as
its influence?
Correct.
I think anytime you disrupt something, all eyes on you. Yeah. Now, I compare it to the internet. See, we were the original social media. Before the internet, we went viral. Somebody said something, we got it popping around. The internet comes. You can't control child pornography. You can't control this. You can't control that, because it was young. Yeah, we're only 50 years old. Hip hop's 50 years old, and so at the end of the day, you're going to have some issues in it. But I told one of the congressmen yesterday. I said, "You talk about guns and you talk about drugs." I said, "But you gave up on trying to." So now you got somebody to point the finger and blame him, because why are the guns in the neighborhood? Yeah. Why are the drugs in the neighborhood? Correct. So who's not? So you want to blame it on music, but I bet you didn't ask the guy who shot up that school what music he was listening to. 100%. So again, it's an attempt to stop us, but we're the #1 music. To get back to what you were asking, we're the #1 music in the world. Absolutely. And we're gonna take all the smoke. It's all good. They're not gonna
Does
stop
hip
the
hop
movement.
care enough? This is an important issue. I think you can have a conversation about hip hop not being as maybe a political voice as it used to be. You don't hear a lot of political songs within the hip hop space like you used to. Do you think hip hop cares enough about this issue, because it pertains to all of the artists? But have you seen personally, to you, enough feedback from the community, from the artists, from the industry people, from your peers, of understanding how important this issue is?
When we did the open letter, I think it was a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, it was the first most participated in form of legislation by the entertainment industry. And I'm talking from Coldplay to Morgan Wallen to Sony, everybody signed on, because if they do it this way, it's going to happen in books, it's going to happen in movies, and again, you're not going to question Denzel Washington. Bruce Springsteen wrote a record called Nebraska, and it said, Me and my girl were riding together, and we killed 10 people, and it might have been bad, but we had fun. If Bruce Springsteen ever would they use that against Bruce Springsteen? The answer is no. No. The answer is no. And so, to me, it's a big problem, and I think, do are artists aware of it? Yes. This Thug case is keeping it in everybody's face because he's like a generational artist, you know what I mean, that influenced a lot of people, and we get calls every day, you know what I mean. And the sad part about it is he performs as Young Thug, but he's Jeffrey Williams. He is the father of 6. Can't be a father. He's a son. Can't be a son. He's a community leader. He was changing the face of Jonesboro, Cleveland Ave. He was changing the face of it, giving people hope. And Little Baby wanted to be like Gunna, and all these people that have gone on to do great things in the community.
Absolutely.
But he sits there, not even giving him bond. He sits there defending his life over lyrics.
How is he? What can you say about him? And, you know, we see him in court. It's live streamed, which is, you know, interesting in itself of watching that happen. You can't look at it. So how has it been? How are his spirits? And what can you tell us, you know, without going too much into the case? Because everybody's interested in how he's doing.
I can tell you he's well because he's built for whatever. But as a human being, how would you feel if you couldn't be with your kids? How would you feel if you couldn't be with your mother? How would you feel if you couldn't be with the very community that you were changing?
Yeah.
So I don't care what face people put on it. I always say, them bars don't move.
Recently, you put up a post where you said you don't sign people, artists, they come to you, and you have an emotional investment. So she's asking, how is he doing? How are you doing?
See, here's the problem with me is I'm always be the same because I'm built from where a lot of it comes from me being from Baltimore.
Yeah.
That shit gonna happen. There's gonna be casualties of war. Things gonna be, but I have to be disciplined. The differentiating factor with me and everybody else is I'm disciplined. So you'll never see me this way, and you never see me this way. You always see me this way. Yeah. That way I can think and understand the things that are moving around me. So how can I say I'm not blessed? How can I say I don't feel great about celebrating 50 years of hip hop? I don't feel great about my kids growing up. I don't feel great about seeing all of us prosper, being the first. How can I say it's not great? So I'm great. I'm fine, but job not done. Yeah. And because the job's not done, I'm focused, I'm disciplined, and I want to make sure I carry this all the way through.
There we go. There we go.
So when the Thug stuff, you went to court and spoke on Thug's behalf and were very emotional. That was seeing a different side of you. What was the response you got off of that? And how did that, and what made you want to share that side?
I didn't intend to go up there and feel that way, but it's like my son being locked up. And I would feel the same way if he was being locked up because I know the good in him. Yeah. That's not what they talking about is not the Jeffrey I know. And the issue that I had with a RICO case is that you lock up a lot of people and that don't have the money. You got public defenders. You got all that.
We're going to take deals,
so
right?
you're trying to flip people. And again, I can't talk too much about it, but I get emotional. It's still not an up and down. I'm just I'm being vulnerable. Yeah. And part of being a leader, and one of my guys called me. He said, "Yo, your street cred just went up 10,000 times because people know that they know who you are and they know you, it really bothers you. So we behind you." So when you asked me what the street loved it, I think it gave, hopefully it made an example to a lot of other executives that it's okay to be human. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be Superman. Yeah.
And to show the relationship you have with the artist.
Yeah. Oh, that is it's something we're missing in our industry. Because we've made it so easy for artists to put out music and so easy for things to go viral, and we forget, that's Jeffrey.
100%.
That's Meg. These are real people, and to me, I want to humanize the business, and so you'll see me wear my heart on my sleeve all the time because that's how I feel.
And so mixed with that, and I know you can only speak limitedly, so I don't know what you can say here, but what about Gunna? What about the relationship between the two of them and have everybody try to paint certain pictures and the challenge there? Is that something you feel has been a struggle or unfair to Gunna, or what's your take on all of that?
I think you should, as a man, you should never speak on two other men's business. But all I can tell you is that Sergio was in there for nothing, you know, and I'm sure they have opportunity to talk and figure out whatever way they want to figure it out. But you heard in his first gift and a curse, you heard him struggle, and you heard with bittersweet that it's okay, but not without my man. You know what I mean? And so you'll go through it, and again, we're talking about kids still. So at the end of the day,
in their first careers,
in their first job,
you know,
and some not having the infrastructure around them to help them get through tough times and decisions that you have to make in order for the family to continue.
Coming off of Gunna and changing the direction a little bit, "Fuck You Mean" was a huge song last year.
Biggest streaming song.
Biggest streaming song. But you probably saw a less successful year in hip-hop with just some of the sizes of the records and the sizes of that. Do you see a decrease in popularity in hip-hop? Do you see a decrease in sales? What's the overall state to you of the genre?
See, the funny thing, they put in a narrative out there that hip-hop is decreasing. We're still the #1 most consumed. All the music is going through a reset.
Right.
And whenever you have so much music out there, where anybody could do anything, they call it music, and it takes up a spot on something, eventually that's going to come to a head. And now you're hearing true artists come out, and they saying there how they really feel, and you can put out a real rap. Meg put out a real rap on our own label,
right?
A real rap record for at highest streaming single for in a career. And so I think it was a level set. I think, and now you can look at some charts. They'll say pop is this, then they'll say hip hop is this, and R&B is this. I said, well, why are you splitting them up? It's black music. Oh, because you don't want it to be over top. But and you go. I mean, this is actually, you can look at how they manufacture data to have that narrative that we're struggling. What we're doing, what's happening is, do I feel we can do better? The answer is yes. Do I feel like there's too much emulation and not enough authenticity in it? Yes, all that's true. But that's always been true.
Yeah.
It comes a time where everybody has to press reset, and then when everything's shiny, DMS gonna say, "Get at me, dog." NWA gonna say, "Fuck the police." Redman gonna say, "Time for some action." Wu-Tang gonna come be, and Outkast gonna come be different for them. And so that to me, you have to allow that time in our young age of hip hop to. We also have to press reset. We were talking about at 25. When you're 50, you're gonna talk about something different. You know, and so I think different artists and emergence of markets around the world. You know, I remember when they used to praise us in the UK for being the biggest rap artists, or in Germany, or in London, whatever it is. Now they got Stormzy. They got their own. They got their own. So you can't tell me that our culture is in trouble or getting small when we're bigger than we've ever been. And there's more artists localized around the world that really can throw arenas and stadiums. Our business is changing, and whether you New Edition, Mary J. Blige, whether you Drake, whether you Beyonce, we playing stadiums. Fuck you talking about? Fuck you mean? It's the narrative. That's all.
But Courtney and I talk a lot about, hip hop in general, but also superstars. You know, who are the big superstars? Do we make superstars at the same level that we used to? Even with XXL freshmen, we haven't seen a lot of male superstars in the freshman space in a minute. It's been a little bit dominated by females over the past few years. Who are the newest superstars? Where are the superstars? Are we making them at the same level? Are we sleeping on Jack Harlow being a superstar because he doesn't fit the mold, you know, and he's got all these hit songs right now? What's a superstar in hip hop, and is that irrelevant?
I think it's always irrelevant, but again, let's not put too much pressure on ourselves to not know that Rob Bass had one of the biggest songs, It Takes Two to Make a Thing Go Right, and people didn't know what to consider him.
Right.
But Rakim, you felt, was it. You know, Run DMC was the big, you know, you go down the list, and so I look at it now, Little Baby grew up to be a superstar. Drake is Godzilla.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, Redman was a super, it was great. Hove is Godzilla.
Yeah.
I mean, so you can't, like, I don't look at it like that. You know, I have a young artist named Hunxho. And I remember we were arguing about how he was performing. He had, 16 people on stage. He's like, yo, I'm getting comfortable. I need my guys around me. And so I'm telling everybody, guys, Wu-Tang had 32 people on stage. I said, if you remember DMX, he had all the Rough Riders, all the young
Diplomats, everything was a huge stage full of people. Yeah,
it was.
But when it turned on to them, you can see DMX at Glastonbury. He's by himself.
Yeah.
When it turned on,
it turns on.
And so you have to allow that maturation process. And you talk about we're not giving an artist time enough to grow up. And so I believe what we could do better, because I always say we could do, is give them more time, give it more nurturing, and understand we're raising young men and women, and they got to go through their thing. We put up a show for Hunxho in Atlanta. Immediately sold out. So we said, well, maybe let's try a bigger venue. Or maybe do 2 days. It was like, no. We're going to try a bigger venue. Immediately sold out. When he did that show, you saw it that moment. And I've been there before when they do that show.
Yeah. That he moment, realized it.
He realized. But see, the thing, you understand, he was on tour with Lil Baby. So he got to see what that was.
Exposed to it.
Every night. Another example I'll give you guys. Thug had Camila Cabello Havana. So, great. Different for him to do that. But, Thug would try anything. And, my guy was managing her, became a #1 record. Yeah. They said, we want you to open the Grammys. I remember this moment.
That was at the spinning?
I remember this moment. So he gets off stage. He said, yo, I want more of this.
Yeah.
Next record, he make Meet Me at the London.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm telling you, but you gotta
experience it.
You gotta allow them to go through it. And the one thing that we were good at, Def Jam, and the one thing that we became great at, 300, is allowing the time for artists to mature. But you cannot help an artist grow if you're not in their life.
Yeah.
A lot of them. We had Tashana, who works for me. Shout out to her. You go to Atlanta for 2 weeks, and you be with him every morning, every night, argue everything down there. Yeah. And I don't think if she would have did that, it would have came out, because his crew gonna do what they do. Yeah. But we had somebody there. G-Off, eventually with Young Thug, stayed with him, and eventually became Thug's manager because Thug trusted him. So you got to invest that into the people.
So is that a key to the process of success for an artist, making sure that someone is there with you 24/7, making sure that you're held accountable, making sure that people give you that time to grow? Do you feel like that's essential,
and they feel cared about by the team that's signed them and is doing business with them?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of that, but I'll put it in a business way. I think every CEO should have a board of directors,
right?
And those people around them that can give him feedback and leave him the decision. Like I tell you, we don't make the decision.
Right.
We give suggestions to his management and what we feel they should do, and then and if he make a wrong decision.
Because you're not trying to control them, you're trying to influence them.
No, I ain't trying to influence them.
Not influence them, okay.
I'm trying to add infrastructure to them. If Jeff Bezos would have stayed in the garage at Amazon, it wouldn't be what Amazon it is today. Right. And he had to take on more capital, more a board of directors and things to build the business. Listen, I said this the other day. So give me another business that at 16 you can go get an investment for what you believe in without a degree, without any other. Name me another business.
Can't.
Okay, the capital, you can't sign for a loan. No other business in the world. You know how many multimillionaires, but they still don't look at us like we're seed investors and we're building micro businesses. And when I get a business to a certain point, I got to put different infrastructure around it. And so they're not thinking like that. So that's our job. Yeah. Our job is you get to a certain level. Okay, we got to put more infrastructure around you, but I'm always talking business to them. Does it make business sense? Because you're not going to be on here talking about, oh, well, the record company this, the record company that. No, I'm your seed investor.
Because the first thing they do is blame the record company. And you sit there and tell me if I'm wrong here. You're saying, well, why would the record company want you to fail? Because if you win, they win. But the first place somebody's going to go is burn the record label down in their hand.
But that's the narrative. See, again, that's another narrative. That when we started to have the Def Jams and the Bad Boys and the blah, 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 this, another narrative in order for the bigger companies to say, hey, they give that narrative that we can't do business. You know what I mean? Then we outdo business them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I just came up, And I have to say, my electrical engineering background that I had at Morgan State helped me fight through a lot of things that I might have made a different kind of decision.
How so?
Because in engineering, there's no one way to get a desired result, especially electrical engineering. There's different circuits you can go to actually get there. And it's two things, electrical engineering and the street. The street taught me that no matter whatever happens, it's going to be okay if you're disciplined around and it's common sense around it and always be on your feet. Yeah. Never slip, somebody's always coming at you.
That's right.
And so I've always had that in my mind. And then engineering, just, I remember my dean of engineering was about to retire. He called me and said, Kev, I want you to come on and give you your honorary degree. I said, Doc, I'm not. He said, no, you engineered your way through life from Baltimore. Wow. I said, oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? So,
I'll be there, yeah.
So I said, cool, I come. And how good God is they were doing the same thing for Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
And it was at that moment, Nancy and I were talking, and she said, we miss you on Capitol Hill. And so I said, you know what? Presidential Cav got to come back. And so, but again, I've been in entrepreneur mode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And building something special. And now, after starting the company, I wanted my people to learn what an entrepreneur was. Go inside. Learn. Build, have more resources. And that day comes when we want to do entrepreneur, I'm going to do the Malcolm X and say, we out. We're going to go do what we want to do.
You have nothing to prove in your career, but you're now back as a chairman. You're at 300 in Elektra. So why? Why are you doing this? Why are you in the seat that you're in again? I mean, you could be golfing 7 days a week like we know you like, right? But you obviously seem motivated to fight the fight with Jeffrey to support a new artist such as Hunxho and everyone on the 300 label, to have a chairman role. You don't need any of that. Why are you choosing it? And what drives you to do it? That's
like saying, why did I get into hip hop? It chose me, and I can tell you, I'm inspired every day by Rain and Salim on the 300 side, by Greg on the Elektra side, by every new artist that comes. I mean, think about like T Grizzly. First day out, big record, make some good records, the whole thing. Now he just had his first, in 7 years, had his first #1 record.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Now he got a record with, what's my guy name? 21, that's called Loophole. He just said, Free YSL, I got thugs, I got guns. Conscious, loving father. How can I not? I called him the other day, I said, yo, I'm proud of you. He said, Kev, you on your dad shit. I said, yeah, I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you that I'm proud of you and your wife. And so to me, I realized I really never did it for me. I always did it for the culture. Yeah. And literally, and as long as I can be of service to the culture, I'm going to be there. Because who's making an investment in them? I didn't say who's hiring them or who's saying, hey, we're going to create a department of black music and we're going to make you this. But how are you going to develop them? Yeah. Are you going to be in that club when shit go down and help them navigate, do that? Are you going to actually spend time with their family on holidays or call them and just say, how you doing? Talk to me about life and where you are. It ain't happening. So to me, I think it's my responsibility as a father, as a brother, as a friend, as a seed investor. It's why you have investors checking on the shit. You know, it's why you have board of directors. I might not I might not have to do what I used to do, but I will do what I love to do. And what I love to do is to be of service to our culture and inspire that next kid. Because like I said, I didn't say, hey, I'm gonna be in the music business.
Do you find you approach artists different and have different conversations now versus back when you first started? Or is it universally the same?
So I was an artist, so I know how I want to be talked to.
Yeah.
You know, now because of the so much music out there. Yeah. I added a remix to my rap. I'm not gonna get into bid more. If you want to be with me, I want to be with you. I'm not doing a contractual relationship. I want to have an emotional relationship. If it's not for you, I wish you the best of luck. But you're gonna see me again, and I might see you again. But you heard me say might. Because I just feel that way. I don't need everybody.
That's right.
I just need the people who want to be with. This is a marriage. This is a partnership. This is something. You can't tell me, Steve Jobs, I invest in you doing computers and you want to make iPhones that I'm still not. No, this is a marriage. And so to me, I want people to be able to go through. I don't mind the arguments. I don't mind the disagreements. Yeah. That makes us stronger. Yeah. And so to me, I do it for the culture. I do it because it excites me every day. And at that moment that I experienced with Hunxho just recently, that was like a full gas tank. You know what I mean? That was like, give me the Cybertruck. You know what I mean? I know it made me feel a certain way. Yeah. So as long as it does that, I'm there.
Do you get the calls back? The call that you got from that you gave to T Grizzly, the support that you give to Thug, all of that. Do you get that reciprocated from your artists? Have you had moments that have touched you and surprised you of how people have reached out to you and your artist's been there for you?
I mean, the most recent thing I can tell you, that's even from my birthday. It's like as I get older, more people do a happy birthday, and all artists call, and but the thank yous, hundreds and thousands. I mean, to artists that they'll shout out when the camera was doing something, talking about somebody, say, you know, Kevin Liles used to tell me, "Why you want to maintain, yo? Don't maintain." He did a whole thing about it. You know, Jeezy will say something, Rick Ross, like it's. I don't. When you are it, you don't look for it.
That's right.
You just I don't and I don't do it for it to come back to me. The biggest, greatest feeling I get is when I give to other people. And if that can be a seed, like I started the year, I said, no longer is good enough, no longer is great enough. I want to plant the seeds of excellence. And if you're not watering and tooling and feeling all that shit, getting it, then I don't want you around me at all. That's right. You know what I mean? So to me, I don't look for it, but it's good when it comes.
What are you excited about? It's beginning of the year. You know, we got a whole bunch of left in 2024. I know, I'm sure you've got releases you're excited about, Positivity for Thug, but what are you excited about?
It's difficult to say one thing now where I'm at in my life, because at 56, I'm glad I woke up. Literally. I just buried my cousin's father last week. He was 80 years old. So 80 minus 56 is 24.
Right. So you're thankful for every day you wake up.
I got 20. I don't know how much, whatever God's going to give me.
There you go. Yeah.
So I'm just blessed and thankful and excited. Yeah. I literally wake up. I play this record. It's by Jake Scott. It's called Good Day. It's going to be a good day, a good time. I'm in your place. I wake up every day and play that record. I pick every now and then. I pick a record. I wake up every day and play that record, and I say, "Damn, I get to do it again. I get to go out and get it again." And I live my life by that. So I'm excited about life. Another thing that I can tell you, I'm excited how golf is becoming part of our culture. I'm excited how we just had another young man become the third NASCAR guy to win. I can't remember his name. I'm excited to see the great new tennis player. I'm excited to see us continue to break barriers, and we're not ending in a certain place. And I'm excited that I get the opportunity to not just work with 100 people, but 5,000 people at the Warner Music Group, and use the influence of our culture to try to plant some more seeds of excellence around what we do.
So speaking of the culture, and let's more so the music business, recently we saw a lot of layoffs, a lot of job turnovers.
Changes in the labels, right?
Changes in the labels. Can you speak to that? How do you feel about that?
I mean, that was a gut punch to watch, and it happened to the peers that you've been working with, and you speak to on the phone every day or email every day, and checking in on how everyone's doing. Why does something like that happen when we're talking about music being hip hop being such a big genre? And I know you don't have all the answers in that, but we're all just trying to figure out what just happened.
So, I mean, business just happened, and people, you got to understand. I told people this: the pandemic happened. And people's habits changed. Right. They listened different times. They did different. They consumed more.
Changed permanently. Changed how they did things moving forward.
It changed how they do things at that particular time. We don't know what the post-pandemic is, but we're starting to realize what it is.
Right.
And every business should challenge themselves to change and set up for the next 10 years. So if you know what Robert, our CEO, he comes from the tech space. He said you have to be right-sized in order to capture the growth going forward. So what you're seeing now is right-sizing. Mm-hmm. But it's not just, it's happening everywhere.
Everywhere.
You know what I mean? You're seeing right-sizing of the business. And one of the things that we should never be afraid of, I remember, and this has happened recently when Leo took the head of YouTube music. Mm-hmm. I had to sit and look at the company. I said, what is the next 10 years going to look like? Bow, bow, bow. Y'all got to go. This is what I want to do. Got smaller just to get bigger. Correct. So, and I've been through it hundreds and thousands of times. And this is why I tell people, good is not enough. You got the reason I don't worry, they can come fire me tomorrow. The reason I don't worry about it because I'm the best at what I do. There you go. And if you're the best at what you're going to do, it's their loss. And guess what? I left Warner Music Group in 2009. Just for them to buy the company for $400 million. Okay. None of it matters when you and if you think about Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron, be the best. Yeah. The rest is what it is. Yeah. And that's what people, they looking at this as they're working for a job. Where my job is me. I'm the CEO of Kevin Liles Industries, and part of my portfolio is 300.
There you go.
Part of my portfolio is Def Jam. But I got to be the best me.
That's right.
And so that's what I do. And I don't do it by myself because I challenge everybody else. You got to be the best you. Forget the company, whatever. Be the best you because a lot of best yous means the best us.
Yes, 100%.
And then we go do what we do. And so I push people to that. I was told one day, Leon Russell would like, because I used to be Big Kev, you know, 320 pounds. He said, one day we're going to come to your funeral. We're going to thank everybody. And then a phone going to ring, and we're going to go on with our life. Change your life. Mm-hmm. If you had two people, the fat guy at 300-something pounds and a guy that was healthy, and you have $500 million to invest, who are you going to invest in?
The one who's going to be around longer.
The guy that's healthy.
That's right.
I changed my shit. And so I'm just saying, it's sad when anybody, but change gonna come no matter whether you. It doesn't matter in any industry. And if you put out, as long as you put up and you focus and you discipline, get back.
And does that apply for artists as well?
I feel like he's talking to me.
No, because artists want to know you, because this happens with artists too. They'll go from
it's true, right?
Labels.
Yeah,
they'll get dropped from one, and we've seen where they've been dropped from one label and they go on to another and become a huge success.
Right.
I can name,
or get unmotivated.
Yeah, we can go down and name it because sometimes you do things and you get lazy. Yeah. You know, and God got to remind you about that laziness. That's right. You're not going to get nothing here. He'll remind you. If you're not innovating, if you're not differentiating yourself, if you're not going above and beyond, and it's not just 80% of it showing up, but I even tell my son, what's your Kevin Liles shit, yo? What makes you different right now? You know, Dad, you understand? No, I said.
You're junior. You're junior.
How you gonna tell me I don't understand, young boy? Yeah. How you gonna tell me what makes it? Don't come to me with no regular shit. And they know, Janelle and them, like, when I get on my shit, I start slapping the table. I start looking at people funny. And then I'll go disappear. I want to be different tomorrow. I try to read 20 books a year. I try to work on myself constantly. I walk 10,000 steps a day. I intermittent fast because I don't know how much more time I have. But this time that I'm going to have, I'm going to do something even greater than I just did. Yeah. That's my mission. Yeah. It's not to just chill out. Golf is therapy for me. Golf is my therapy. They can go talk to who they want to talk to, whatever. I go out that ball, I hit a bad shot, hit a good shot. Get a par, get a double. That's life.
What's a book you've read recently that's been, since you're reading so many books, what's a book that's been big for you?
I'm reading Frederick Douglass right now. I got off the self-help thing after I sold the company.
Because you have your own book.
Yeah, I have my own book, yeah. But I have it. And so now I'm doing autobiographies because I want to write another book. And so I want to hear what people were thinking throughout, you know, and I got a couple more that I haven't in mind, but Think and Grow is another one that I haven't finished, and that was the last one I was reading before I flipped over to the autobiographies. So that I would just say the Frederick Douglass story is It's very, very interesting how he was navigating, back during that time. You know what I mean?
Any specific book changed your life?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Good to Great. Okay. My book, and it's not a shout out to my book. It was the first time I could sit down, and it was therapy to me for me to actually talk.
Right, to make it.
To talk through the gift that God gave me.
Yeah.
I mean, the stories that I was able to tell, and how the songs inspired me, and how it ended with the reason I called to make it happen. My grandfather walking down the steps. I'm about to go sign my first contract, leaving Baltimore to go to Philly. I get there. He come down. He said, "Don't worry about me. I'm gonna be okay. You gonna make it happen." I get there, have the meeting, sign the contract. My man pulled me to the side, said, "Yo, your mom didn't want me to tell you, but your grandpa passed." I flipped the fuck out. Mm-hmm. How the hell, blah, 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 blah. But now, as I got older, I understood what they were doing, and that's why I dedicated it to him.
Kevin, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us, especially for this first episode. Thank you, XXL watchers, readers, all of you for joining us today and seeing what Mr. Liles has to say. And we look forward to seeing you for the next episode.
And I just personally want to say thank you for being an inspiration for our generation, and just for simply doing it over and over and over again, and still having the desire, the excitement, because it exudes from you. So
I appreciate it. Shout out to XXL, and you should have did this a long time ago, because I think people want to hear from your perspective and questions. They used to read it. Now I think the podcast is
right. You got to step into the future. I mean, definitely the podcast has been around for a minute, but you got to also figure out where you fit in at the same time.
Where you fit in, but always continue to evolve and do something different. So thank you guys. God bless you.